guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel, Meg's Movies. If you are new to this channel, this is basically where I talk to you guys about my passion for movies. This goes from collections, hauls, reviews, and today's video, so let's get into it. So I figured, since I have a massive collection set of Disney, and I figured whilst it's Disney's 100 this year, I thought, why not, every single time I watch one of the Disney films, why not review them? So there'll be 61 reviews coming on the channel. They'll be going up as and when I watch these films. But yes, I thought I'd give you my thoughts on the films, because there are some that I have seen, some that I haven't, some that I haven't watched in a very long time. So there's going to be a good mixture of things. And yes, so of course the first one being is The Little Mermaid, because obviously I'm working on my original versus ranking series, and this is one I just recently done. So let's get into talking about The Little Mermaid. So with The Little Mermaid, like I said in my original versus remake video, which if you haven't gone to check out, go and check it out. Basically, I have a little bit of a memory of going to see it in the cinema during one of its anniversary things growing up. At least that's what I think anyway. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling that I did. But I grew up on The Little Mermaid. So for me, when it comes to Disney, I grew up with The Little Mermaid onwards. So I was more into that side of Disney than I was the earlier stuff. I mean, things like Robin Hood and Peter Pan, like they were my sister's favourites. So I knew of them, but the rest I never really watched. So, because obviously I was more of a 90s baby, anything from The Little Mermaid onwards are the ones that I've watched the most. With a couple that I haven't seen yet. But The Little Mermaid is one of those ones that I do love the story, and I think it's a cute little movie, but it's not one I go back to that often. But it is still one that I really truly enjoy, and I think it's one of the better Disney movies we've gotten. For me, I think anything from like the 90s and early 2000s were brilliant, like when it come to Disney. And yeah, so The Little Mermaid, I love everything about it. So I love the animation, like it is so beautiful. The under the sea stuff just looks amazing. They use a lot of colours and things like that, and I think that's brilliant. But not only just for the underworld stuff, but for the above ground stuff as well, like with the castle and with the ship and everything like that, and the fireworks. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and that's what I love about animation, and especially hand-drawn animation. It just looks so beautiful when they use certain colours, and it makes the world feel sort of like more impactful, like you feel more drawn into it because of how colourful it is. And not only that, but the songs in this one. So the early 90s, in fact pretty much nearly all of the 90s, the movies were all sort of like musical based. So you had things like The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Hercules. So there was a lot of musical animations that we got in the 90s. And this is one of my favourites, to be honest, because there's a lot of catchy songs in this. I mean, you had things like Part of Your World, which was beautifully sung by Judy Benson. She did an amazing job as Ariel. And I think that's such a lovely song to listen to. Sort of like when you're wanting sort of like a calm music number, that's one I'd go for. Then you had Under the Sea, absolutely amazing bop of a song. Like, it's quite funny because I think it was last year. Yeah, last year we were helping my dad put a tent up just to sort of like clear it out ready for his trip. And my sister randomly said something about Under the Sea. And then I continued on and started singing the song. Sorry, my eye's itchy. But yeah, so that song is quite funny because then I started singing it and then we just started singing and swaying. So Under the Sea is a classic ensemble song. Then you have Ursula's badass song of Poor Unfortunate Souls. I love villain songs because for some reason the villains always get the best songs. I don't know why. I think it's just because of how badass they are and things like that. But they get the best songs. And Poor Unfortunate Souls, I love that song. Whenever I want to feel sassy, I go to that song. I think Poor Unfortunate Souls, that's my go-to, pretty much, along with Friends on the Other Side. They're two Oh, and be prepared. So there's some really amazing catchy songs in this film. And not just that, the characters are fun as well. Like the character of Ariel, she's a young teenager. You know, she's wanting to explore things, but her dad's telling her no. So although it can be a bit predictable in the sense of the story, like you know for a fact she's going to go against her father's wishes and things like that, I think it was still a fun little movie, because it's those kind of movies that, even though it's predictable, because of the music, because of the animation, and because of the characters and how funny they are and how you want to follow where they go and things like that, you kind of get over that predictability of that kind of plot. But yeah, Ariel, love her. Eric, I think he's a fun prince. I think he's certainly one of my favourites. After Aladdin, I think Aladdin's like my absolute favourite. But Prince Eric certainly comes second, I think. Yeah, second. Just because of how he acts throughout the whole movie. And then, of course, Ursula, oh my god. Sassy, love her. Amazing. She's one of my favourite villains. And I can't get over her. She's just sort of like how she's trying to get her own way, but also in a weird way helping Ariel out, but then it's more helping her. It's very weird, but it's a fun villain, and I like a villain that's fun to watch. When a villain's just meh, like I watched, this is not an animated film, but I watched Speed 2 the other day, and William Dafoe normally plays very good villains, but in that one, he didn't feel like a very good villain to me. But then you get things like Ursula, where she is sassy, she's all about herself, and she has this badass song to go with it, and she has these sidekicks that are adorable. You know, she was a very good villain, and I might do a top 10 Disney villains during Halloween, I think, when I get back from my trip. But yeah, Ursula is a fun character. King Triton, I love him, he's a fun dad. Then you've got Sebastian and Flounder and Scuttle. They're your animal sidekick friends that you kind of pretty much get in every Disney movie, pretty much. There's always some kind of like animal sidekicks somewhere, but they're the main three, and I really enjoy their characters. I think they bounce off each other very well. You've got Flounder, who's sort of like the young, naive friend. You know, he's Ariel's best friend, you know, things like that. Then you've got Sebastian, who's only doing what the king's asked him to do, but at the same time, he feels for Ariel when he sees what she's going through. And then, of course, you've got Scuttle, the weird bird that seems to think a fork is a hairbrush. But no, this is a fun little movie. And like I said, I think the 90s Disney are the absolute best. Like, I can never fault anything wrong with the 90s Disney. I think when I looked at it, because I'm also doing it by era as well, so Dave Lee Down Under, who's one of the movie YouTubers I watched, and he does mainly focus on Disney, he did era rankings as well, and so I thought I might do the same. And the one that I'm currently doing is the Renaissance, because obviously I'm focusing on the 90s. I think out of all the films that come out in the Renaissance, there's only one I haven't seen, and that's Rescuers Down Under, which is actually going to be my next one to watch before my original versus remake series. But when I looked what came out in that era, I was like, love that one, 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 haven't seen that one, love that one. You know, so it did have a lot of good movies that come out that year. I mean, obviously, like I said, for me in my original versus remake, for me, the 2002 year where I got Lilo and Stitch and Treasure Planet, they're my two absolute favourite Disney films. But if I was to think about it, because I am going to be doing a massive ranking of these Disney movies, especially with Wish coming out this year, for me, I think a lot of the ranking will be, the top 10 will most probably mainly be 90s plus those two. So that's how much of an influence the 90s and early 2000 films had on me, that I have a feeling that even though I haven't rewatched these films yet, and there's some I haven't seen and all that, I feel like when I do get to them, I have this gut feeling that it is going to be that my top 10 will mainly be 90s movies and the two that I said before. So yeah, The Little Mermaid, I would happily return to it whenever, you know, but it's not exactly my go-to Disney film. if you know what I mean. I would still recommend it to people. I still have a good time watching it. I still love it from start to finish. But for me, like I said, my go-tos will probably always be Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, things like that. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this review of The Little Mermaid. I think the next one will be The Rescuers, because I need to watch that one before I watch Down Under. So you should be getting like at least 2-3 Disney reviews next week, because I'll see my original versus remake as well. But yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then do give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button and also notification bell down below to be notified when I post. And also leave me your comments and thoughts on The Little Mermaid. Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!